You've heard the saying before. It's an issue of national security.
I'm gonna break down.
It can be overwhelming to think about and hard to understand what truly threatens our day-to-day safety.
It's happening under very specific guidelines, ideologies.
This week, we'll lay out some of the biggest threats.
A really important person just gets taken away from you.
From how political decisions in Washington impact life on the border, to the tool laying out the places most likely to be targeted by a cyber attack. This is The Race. When I say national security, you might think of threats to our nation from abroad. And we're going to discuss those in our show. They're very important. But we want to start with the threats that are growing from within, like extremist groups and how they recruit and radicalize. You may think that's done underground or on places like the dark web, but we found it's being done very much out in the open, and I was surprised with just how quickly we could find evidence of that.
I'll share my screen once it loads.
While I can't tell you the last time I played a video game. Do I need to download something, or I sound like my dad. They have always been a huge part of Alex Newhouse's life.
They are a place for creative expression. They're a place to figure out what your personal identity is in a good way.
But he's not meeting with me just to play. He works with the Middlebury Institute. Alex is one of the leading researchers looking at how extremist groups like white supremacists are using video games to recruit new members or radicalize those who could be susceptible.
A lot of times it's adolescents doing this during very important, sort of foundational moments in their lives.
If you're from the era of the original Nintendo, you have to understand how games have changed. No longer are they just a place for someone to disconnect on the couch. Many are like their own social media platforms where players communicate, play together, and build meaningful relationships.
They have become these places where people live significant portions of their lives.
According to the Anti-Defamation League, 10% of young gamers admit they've been exposed to white supremacist ideology while playing with others online. That's almost 1.5 million people between 13 and 17 years old.
What will happen is we'll see 2 or 3 hardened extremists going into those lobbies and using basically really intense racial slurs or other types of extremist language. And they are basically looking for positive responses from other people in the lobby.
And meeting with Alex, it didn't take long for me to see that as he walked me through a popular PC game any of us can buy online for $9.99.
You can just put in an I-beam.
It's a game where players create their own worlds where other players can enter and interact with each other. He says extremist groups often create worlds full of hateful images. I mean, how hard is it to find those specific worlds?
Yeah, when I was preparing for this interview, actually, it took me about 20 seconds to find an Auschwitz concentration camp simulator.
I'm not going to show you the anti-Semitic imagery, but I saw it for myself.
I don't think this one is particularly interested in historical reconstruction and historic value.
If you're like me, you're wondering how images and messages like that could be so out in the open.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
It's why I reached out to Carnegie Mellon University's Kathleen Carley. She's studied how extremist groups have used the internet for decades.
It's very complex because, for example, let's say that the tech companies themselves wanted to stop this. Well, what are at their disposal are things like banning, doing content moderation, suspending accounts, etc. What we've seen is whenever they do things like that, it pushes things underground.
Alex points to studies that have found no link between violence in video games and violence in real life. But he says he's working with tech companies to create ways to combat hateful content like what he showed me. He says it's on parents to be involved because bad actors are casting a wide net in hopes someone will join them.
I'm Vanessa Mashanya. Mention anything about changes to immigration law right now, and it gets a lot of scrutiny, especially as concerns about national security at the border rise. But even in this political climate, there's an effort to pass a law that those for it say will bring American families together without sacrificing security at the border.
But this is us now. If you notice, we have a missing person there.
To his family, Roberto Villegas was the heart of the household.
He would watch me dance horribly when I was younger. He would come to my recitals. He would take me out to eat afterwards and tell me I did great, even though I didn't. He was the best. He's the best father I could ever ask for.
It's been 3 years, actually. This month, it was one day after Father's Day that I'm gonna break down.
In 2019, their collective hearts were broken when he was taken away.
I get a call and he's like, I need you to sit down. I need you to just breathe. I just got pulled over by ICE.
It's been hard on me. I don't really like talking about it, but it really changes your life. It's life-changing, and not in a good way. A really important person just gets taken away from you, and it's really hard.
Raquel says Roberto was once here legally, but more than 20 years ago, when he was coming back into the United States from Mexico, said he was a U.S. citizen when he was not. The penalty for lying about citizenship status is a permanent ban on ever living in the country. No appeals process, no way to fight it.
It was a pretty surreal moment. He's an integral part of our family, and I'm pretty sure every family can relate to that.
No matter if your wife, your spouse, your kids, your parents are U.S. citizens, there's nothing. There's not a waiver. There's not a pardon.
As the Villegas family learned, immigration laws can be very black and white. According to Forward.us, an immigration advocacy group, 1.7 million Americans have a spouse who is undocumented.
The only way to get through this is to change the law.
Callie Piegro is the leader of an effort to do exactly that, change the laws to give a pathway to spouses with families in the U.S. through the American Families United bill.
It is an immigration bill in its core. But who the bill really serves is U.S. citizens.
The bill has dozens of Democratic co-sponsors in the House and support from 3 Republicans. That imbalance right now is something they're working to fix. With concerns over border security and letting the wrong people back into the country, the bill's advocates know there are obstacles to getting more Republicans on board.
There's nothing like a blanket approval involved. It's a case-by-case basis of judgment.
This bill would be the only way Roberto could live in the United States again.
When I talk to my senators or representatives, especially here in Texas, their first response is, we want to secure the borders. Yes, I want you to secure the borders. I understand that. But we also need to think about those families who are separated, who are U.S. citizen families.
As conversations continue about the best way to secure our borders, families stuck in the middle of policy ask for empathy and hope that a middle ground can be achieved.
Everyone makes mistakes, and it's not fair that we're over here suffering and he's suffering for a stupid mistake that he did when he was young. Want people to understand that he isn't a criminal. He is my dad. He is a son. He is a husband. He is a father. And he deserves to be over here.
I'm Vanessa Mishanya.
The race continues next.